All right, today's type of question will be talking about cause and solution type of question. This type of question consists of 11% out of all the essay form. So which means the chance of this question coming out of the test is around 11%. But it's pretty interesting, and I think the way how it is structured is easier than the other types. So today we'll be going over these. First of all, let me just go over the question. Levels of youth crime are increasing rapidly in most cities around the world. What are the reasons for this? And suggest some solutions. Okay, so here I have first and second sentence and the third sentence. So I will be writing three sentences. First and second sentence will be talking about the trend, and the third sentence will be talking about the intro to the body. All right, so here, right, the trend that I have written is it is common that youth crime exists everywhere, but it should be limited at a certain level. So here, what I wrote is it is common that. And this is a very good word to start with. So any essay you are starting with, you can start with this essay. Then it says youth crime exists everywhere. All right, this is my opinion, but it should be limited at a certain level. Now, when you see the technique of this sentence, right, I used but and try to make the sentence a bit longer, right? So remember, after a conjunction, you can make another new sentence. And then I use this clause and then talked about my opinion. Not opinion, but even though if you are talking about, even though if it is your opinion, make sure it sounds like a fact. And then the second sentence I started with, yet, the crime relating to the youth. And here I used a different word. Remember, the trend is the paraphrase, the summary of the question. So here I didn't write youth crime. I wrote the crime relating to the youth is rising sharply, which can be compared to increasing rapidly due to. So here I wrote due to external and internal factors. Well, while we're writing the second sentence, right, we can see that there are some external and internal factors. Try not to be too specific on the introduction. Just make sure it is like overall answer. Like external and internal factors, when you break them down, they can be different kinds of categories. There can be different answers, right? So when you're writing the introduction, make sure it is general, not specific. And the third sentence is just an introduction to the body. So what I put is, usually in TOEFL, they would use this skill a lot. Here, what I wrote is, the following essay will examine the reason for this phenomenon and possible solutions. So I wrote what the question wanted on the third sentence of the introduction. So here, right, what we can see is we have reasons and solution. So here we also have the reason and the possible solutions. Next, we'll be moving to the body. As you know, there will be two bodies. There's first body and there's a second body. First body, I'll be talking about cause. And like I told you, right, always remember before writing the body, right, you have to write the ideas, some ideas. It doesn't have to be good or it doesn't have to be bad because most of the time these examiners are not looking at how good you answer the question. They're actually looking at how well you have written the essay. That is what you're looking at. So technically speaking, the way how you write is much more important than how you are giving the answer. So here, right, we have the first body, and then I wrote some idea. The cause can be like bad friends, media, and there can be internal factors like family, education, and these are supposed to provide ethics. And then the second body where we'll be talking about the solution. So the solution can actually reflect back to these things when there's a reason, and then we can probably answer how these can be solved. Now here what I wrote is body. And also remember the most important thing when you are writing an essay, the body part, the first sentence especially is much more important than the middle part. So first, and the last sentence are the most important thing while we're writing an essay. So here, what I wrote for the first one is the main reason for the increase of the youth crime is because of the increasing number of single parents. So I wrote the main reason, and I wrote is because. Don't try to look at what I have answered, but try to look at how I've made my sentence. So I have this clause, conjunction is because, and I also have the main reason to start off. And it doesn't sound awkward when we are using these clauses. So that's what matters the most. And then the second sentence, in order for, all right, I would use this clause and then start a sentence. In order for a child to grow in a functional family, having both parents are necessary. And then I would use so that, which is another clause, so that they can teach their children morally and ethically. While you're writing an essay, right, if you are not confident with your vocabulary, don't try to write the adverb. Do not try to write end. You can just finish in children. And there's a difference between in order for or and order to. Order to, after after the preposition to comes get a verb, and after for there's a noun. And then the third sentence I would start with although. Here we have although, which is another subordinate clause. Although children are taught in school to behave in a certain manner, if they cannot be taught by their parents, then there is a higher chance for them to be delinquent. So I used if conditional, and then in the end I'll use this vocabulary delinquent, which means like children who are like riotous, right? They are really against the society. Right. And then the fourth sentence I started with, for example, the teachers in school would only teach the children not to steal or not to be violent only in school. While parents, I used while to connect my sentence, parents teach their own children not to commit any crime in their life. And then I use the word moreover, which is another good clause to use. Moreover, teachers only care what happens in school rather than what might happen to their students' life. So, and then here I put consequently, because parents play a critical role more than the teacher to the students, students are more likely to follow their parents by behaving in a more ethical way. So that's what I have written. Now, when you see my essay, the essay is really well written and it is well organized. And then the reason is very good. But if they ask me, right, can you write this in 40 minutes? The answer is no. Because I put a lot of thought through it. Actually, it took me around 1 hour to write this essay. Um, but the point, what I'm trying to tell you, right, is you have to write this essay in 40 minutes. I'm trying to emphasize that answer is not really important. What is more important is the writing itself. The reason why it took me a long time to write this is because I was trying to give a right answer, but that is not necessary while you're doing a essay. Just make sure the first sentence of the body and the last sentence of the body, right? They have to correspond back to the question. All right, middle is not really important. Body two. Body two, now we have to work with a solution, right? So here, what I wrote is that in order to solve this phenomenon, the government should fund the community as community can teach the children with ethics and moral while the parents are working. So I connected, so you can use this word in order to solve this phenomenon, this sixth word. So everything you see in green, right? You can use it actually on your essay. All right, and then it says with, I added with and while to make my sentence look longer. In other words, the community center will be the mother and the father who can teach them internally. On top of that, now when we are saying on top of that, right, we're talking about like a different subject, but in the same category. So number two is talking about mother and father, not mother and father, but community center at behaving like a mother and father. All right, but here on number three, it is not about the community; it's about different things. So that's why I put on top of that. Here, what you can see, right? It says stricter laws can reduce the youth crime that is happening in the modern society. In case of South Korea, yeah, because I live in South Korea, so I put down what is happening in South Korea. There's a limit of giving punishment to the youth. For instance, I used if conditional. Someone who is under 15 years old murder a man or a woman, then this teenager is out of prison as long as he has a good lawyer. Moreover, the reason is because he is underage. Therefore, many teenagers think that even though they commit crime, they can slip out easily. So that's what I have put. And then conclusion. Conclusion is again reflecting the introduction and the body. All right, so the first sentence of the conclusion, I would write what is the reason of this phenomenon. And the second sentence, I write the solution, how it can be solved. So here I put the reason in conclusion. Some of the main reasons why youth crimes are prevalent is because they cannot receive a proper education internally. When I say internally, it means ethical and morally. Now also here, the conclusion I will start with. In conclusion, some of the main reasons why youth crimes, all right, I repeated that one more time. All right, so let me repeat that one more time. Are prevalent is because they cannot receive a proper education internally. And then the solution. Nevertheless, this can be solved by providing a stricter law against the youth and having the community support the children by teaching them with morals and ethics as they are growing up. So this will be reflecting how it can be solved. And then one suggestion I would like to give you, right, is that sometimes I evaluate my students. And when I evaluate them, right, they surely can get more than 7.0. But on the test, they happen to get 6.0, at most 6.5, and if worst, 5.5. And then the excuse that they kind of give is that I did what you told me. I did what I did. I thought I wrote the essay well. I did. But the way how I'm teaching the students, right? These are the methods of, it is a method that I read over and over again through one of the IELTS site. And they have a specific category and they have a specific standard how they can get more than 7.0. So this is nothing inaccurate. This is pretty much accurate for you to get more than 7.0. Now, let me give you a reason why they would get lower score than expected. The first thing is time. Even though if you are able to, like I told you, it took me an hour to write this, right? And this level is probably around 8.0 or 8.5, where you can get. But, and as you know, right, all these sentences are long. They're all long enough. That is the first priority that needs to be done. But the way how you're supposed to practice, right, is you have to finish your essay. I know the essay is 40 minutes, but you have to, at least for your homework, right, you have to finish within 30 minutes, right? You have to finish within 30 minutes so that when you're on that day on the test, right, you're able to do, you're able to have some time to finish and look over. And the always read your sentence. All right, that is number two. Always reread your sentence and make sure there is no mistake. Because let's say I made a mistake in the middle, right? I made a mistake in the middle. You cannot actually go in the middle and try to fix it. That's not how the system works. You have to erase everything and then write over again. All right, and you know, even when I write an essay, before I look back, there's always a mistake. Then now let's imagine, right, my students who are not a better writer than me. Of course, there might be like few, very few, who's a better writer than me. Let's say imagine they were writing their essay, right? And then they just finish it. They never look back. There are a lot of mistakes when they just do it and they look back, right? Sometimes there's grammar, and because of that one word, right, that they didn't put inside the essay, that ruins the whole sentence. And the examiner cannot understand what they are talking about. And once when that happened, that then they minus. And if it continues, right, it minus exponentially. So it multiplies that the number multiplies and it gets minus, right? So what you need to do whenever you're writing a sentence, right after you're writing a sentence, you have to read it again, that sentence, and then see if anything is wrong, all right, or if it is good to go. Those are the two things that I want to teach you. All right, okay. All right, today that is it, and I have some more video. Let's say if you want to learn Korean, right? There's also a Korean version, and also I am uploading TOEFL, and also we'll be uploading the business English and English for the beginners. Okay, so I hope while you're watching this, it really helps you a lot. All right, so that is it for today, and yeah, I'll see you next time. All right.